When it comes to relationships, whether we're talking about friendships, family, or love, it's the quality of the relationship that will determine whether or not it's a healthy one. Why does that matter? Because unhealthy relationships can have a negative effect on your mental health. So today I'm sharing 8 ways to improve your relationships for better mental health. If you're new here, hi and welcome to Better Mental Health. I'm Jeremy Godwin. Back in 2011, I had a major breakdown which led me into a period of severe anxiety and depression, and I couldn't find many resources for dealing with my condition that were straightforward and practical. That took me on a journey of learning more about mental health, and I went back to university to study psychology and sociology, and now I focus on delivering what I couldn't find: simple advice on how to improve your mental well-being from someone who actually understands what it's like to go through mental health challenges. So today is all about relationships, and my first tip is know what a healthy relationship looks like. So a healthy relationship is one where everyone involved in it demonstrates mutual respect, communicates, supports one another, behaves fairly and honestly, where they trust each other and treat one another as equals. They enjoy one another's company, and where each person has their own identity. Knowing what a healthy relationship looks like can help you to identify any areas that might require your attention, as well as helping to highlight any amber or red flags. Okay, next, know that you do not need a relationship to be whole. And this is another foundation of healthy relationships, because it's about ensuring that you don't lose yourself in the desire to be seen and valued by another person. A healthy relationship is one that complements your life, it doesn't complete it. Your strength, your self-worth, all that comes from within. And that's something I talked about in this video, which I'll leave a link to in the description below. Okay, next, focus on quality. The quality of your relationship is far more important than how many you have or how often you see one another. So that means focusing on having a real connection with one another, being completely honest and having mutual respect, having the ability to talk about anything and everything, having fun together and making each other laugh, enjoying one another's company while also having your own interests, supporting one another to be the best that you can both be, helping one another through the challenging times. These are all the things that really matter in the long run. So invest your time and energy in improving those aspects and the quality of your relationships. Next, support one another. And aside from being supportive, which is of course really important, I also mean to actively lean on one another's strengths and support each other with the stuff that you're maybe not so good at. For example, I know that I'm good at administrative stuff while I'm really terrible at DIY. A few months ago, I tried assembling a basic cabinet from IKEA and I almost had a meltdown after 2 hours. However, my partner's the opposite, so we split things up based on our individual strengths, and by doing that, we support one another as well as getting things done for our home. Okay, next, communicate. And this means being open and honest with one another about things, especially if there are issues that need to be dealt with. And part of this involves addressing issues early, because when you don't tackle those little irritations that come up from time to time, they can grow and fester over time to become major problems. And the only good Fester is Uncle Fester from the Addams Family. Speaking of communication, no surprises. And this means being fully committed to complete honesty and transparency at all times. Yes, that can be awkward or difficult sometimes, but it's better than blindsiding someone if there are problems. If you have open and honest communication at all times, then there shouldn't be any surprises, especially if things aren't working out. Okay, next, pause before you respond. If you're angry, hurt, or upset, don't just react, because that's going to cause a mess that will probably make things way worse. Instead, pause, reflect and work out why you're feeling that way first, and then respond in a thoughtful and considered way. Now, the easiest way to do this is to breathe and count to 10 to let the emotional reaction pass. And then once you feel a bit calmer, take a few moments to think about what's really going on so that you can address the situation calmly and rationally. Now, not only does that reduce the likelihood of an argument developing, it also helps you to grow. And speaking of growth, my next point is grow together. Relationships evolve over time, and so do we. You are not the same person that you were a year ago or a decade ago. So that means that it's essential to have open communication with one another to make sure that your goals and values remain aligned. Because failure failure to communicate leads to disconnection, which can lead to animosity and eventually even the breakdown of the relationship. And I think the most important thing to consider here is to be supportive of one another's growth, even if that creates challenges. I've had many friends who I've grown apart from because our lives have gone in different directions. And even though they're no longer in my life, I am still very happy for them and I celebrate the time that we had together. Not all relationships are meant to last for forever, and that's okay. Choose to learn what you can from each one. The choice is yours, as it is with all things related to your well-being. So, what choice will you make today? Let me know in the comments below. And a big part of any healthy relationship is maintaining your self-esteem, and that's something I talk about in this video, where I share 5 ways to improve your self-esteem. So click the link to watch it next. And you'll find even more advice on managing your well-being in my weekly podcast, Let's Talk About Mental Health. It's linked in the description below. Thanks so much for joining me today. Take care and talk to you next time.